This is T.M. Stevens from Steve Vai and James Brown. You are watching the Guitar Mania channel, and I demand you don't turn that dial or I'll come get you. God!
Could you tell us a bit about your heavy metal funk approach, the funk law according to T.M. Stevens?
That's a good question.
Yeah.
Growing up in the Bronx, everything was like Marvin Gaye, The Temptations, da 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 da. And one time I listened on the radio and I heard Purple Haze. What is that? And I liked it. And when I found out who it was, I started to edge into rock. But I'm a funkhead. Parliament Funkadelic, Bootsy Collins, who I played with last year. All of these things, that's my roots. When I heard rock, I liked the power of it. So instead of canceling the funk, adding the rock, I added the rock to the funk. So that became my stew.
Yeah.
And now I play funk with rock, but I don't make anything less. It's all equal.
Yeah. You even have some hardcore elements in your music.
Yes.
I found. And what do you say about the Bad Brains new album? Did you listen to it?
I like Bad Brains. I haven't heard the new one yet, but I've always been a fan of them. Because Bad Brains have a little bit my same roots.
Yeah.
I'm Jamaican, they're Jamaican. Fumsik, fumsik.
50. I noticed that your German is pretty good. How come?
Ich spreche ein bisschen Deutsch. I think language is like music to me. Like if you sing a tune, I remember the melody and I learn it.
Okay.
But if I hear you speaking, sprechen,
Yeah.
it goes in and then I begin to learn. That's how I learn Japanese.
Yeah.
ありがとうございます。よろしくお願いします。ちょっとね。
Perfecto.
はい。TM means too many notes. And I think the rest of the world should be like Europe with real music because everything is machines now.
Right.
And so I come to Europe because people really want to hear the real thing.
Okay. How is touring different in Europe from the United States, for instance?
Well, there are more tours here because we don't have venues like Porgy and Bess.
Right.
And either you're playing Stadthalle
Okay.
or you're really not playing, you know. So, I
Yeah.
mean, but then a lot of that is background music,
Yep.
auto-tune.
Yeah.
And I'm not downing it, but we got to get back to roots, the real thing.
Yeah. Do you play a lot in New York City, for instance?
Sometimes in New York and sometimes in New Jersey. But believe it or not, more I play throughout Europe,
Right.
Japan, China.
Yeah.
I'm always got a suitcase, tons of speakers,
Yeah.
because I think people need to more appreciate the real music. Like they don't know Led Zeppelin, James Brown, Motown.
Yeah.
We have to teach this again.
So do you have a feeling that there's that this should be brought more to the awareness of the younger generation as well, the old traditions sort of?
Perfect question, because I teach the youth constantly, and on my website, tmstevens.com, it says for the youth.
Yep.
I never say no to them, and I teach them all at Motown,
Yeah.
how to play groove, and not just only frickle frackle, because
Yeah.
I can frickle frack, but
Yeah, I bet you can.
it's okay, but then boom, 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 boom. Those kind of things are classic forever. You remember Papa was a Rolling Stone?
Yeah, sure.
Simple, you go bum, bum, take a nap. Bum, 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 and it's so spacious, but it's such a beautiful bass line.
Yeah, that's what Miles Davis was all about. Leave space for the music and for what you're not playing.
I played with Miles,
I know.
1978, and he said, TM, it's not what you play all the time, it's what you leave out. He taught me. And he said, leave room for the snare drum. So you're going da-da-da-da-dun, da-da-dun, da-da. He said, that makes conversation.
Okay. Rumor has it that he even shared a tuna sandwich with you.
How did you know that? He's the FBI, the Funk Bureau of Investigation. Yes, we were at rehearsal, and the first day I was playing all my fancy schnick-schnack, and I said, how did you like it? He said, it's all right. What do you mean? It's my best licks. He said, that's your problem. You play too much what you know. It's when you don't know and you experiment, when you learn.
Right.
And the next day I just opened my mind, and he went, I love it. And he gave me part of his tuna sandwich.
So anyone playing with Miles Davis must be pretty nervous and anxious to play with this legend.
We were all nervous because we rehearsed in the basement. He was upstairs listening. And if he didn't like something, on the intercom, yes, open the hi-hat.
Okay.
Or play less notes. He would say it through the intercom. And I asked him, I said, Miles, why are you away from the band? He says, because if I'm standing here, you're going to react different.
Right.
If I'm not in the room, you're going to be more yourself, and I can hear the real people.
Okay. That's an interesting approach to
He was a genius. I said, how did you have such great bands? He said, no.
Yeah.
It's you pick the right people. Then you don't have to push them.
Yeah.
So if you're playing with me and you're playing the right thing, I don't have to say much. I was with James Brown in New York, playing at the old Hit Factory. And I recorded with the Pretenders there.
Yep.
And it was floor after floor of giant studios. I did Billy Joel there.
Right.
River of Dreams.
Yeah.
And we did a live show. And I wanted to always play Sex Machine with him, because I did Living in America,
Okay.
the bass and the vocals.
Yep.
And so I said, play Sex Machine. I don't know if I want to play that. Ha! And we played it.
Okay.
That was a dream come true.
That's
And Living in America, his singers was in, you call it in Österreich, Stau, traffic.
traffic. Yeah. Traffic jam.
And so he said, sing the vocals. I went, I don't sing. Sing, okay. And I ended up singing 10 tracks of Living in America, and me and Dan Hartman did 2 more.
Yeah. But was that the reason why you picked up singing, or did you sing from the moment you started playing?
Not really singing. I would do some backgrounds and things, but that gave me courage because that was his biggest hit.
Yeah.
After Sex Machine, then I got more courage.
Yeah.
Now I jump up and sing.
Yeah.
And it's not easy to play all that kind of bass and sing.
Yeah. Talking about New York, I saw. I was lucky enough to go to New York several weeks ago. I saw Ron Carter playing at the Blue Note. Did you ever consider picking up the double bass?
Early on, I did it. Early on, I was playing a little bit of double bass.
Yeah.
It was in my music loft, but it was so hot, cold. The bass dried up and cracked.
Yeah.
So
So you changed your mind.
I'm just playing electric.
You must have been asked these questions a million times before, but we would, our readers and listeners would definitely be most interested to hear about your musical beginnings. What made you start playing in the first place? Why did you pick up an instrument?
Well, people say, how did I choose bass? And my answer is the bass chose me.
Okay.
Because I was in the Boy Scouts. And I lived in the Bronx, but I went all the way to Harlem for the Boy Scouts. And the Scoutmaster said, I'll teach you guitar. I said, okay. After the meeting, I went to his house. But I noticed I kept listening to the bottom. And James Brown, I listened to the bass, and I wasn't listening to guitar, and the bass took me. So next door,
Yep.
there was this young guy, and he was kind of a drug addict. And he sold me his bass for $10.
Yeah.
I don't know what that is in euro. 6 euros.
€6, €7.
It was a cheesy, cheap bass, and then all of a sudden it just automatically took to me like peanut butter and jelly.
Yep.
And I started playing and moving and playing, and it just developed.
Yeah. Did you ever take lessons? Did you? Or
No,
You learned it all by yourself.
natural.
Wow.
And then I got a Broadway play,
Yeah.
and the conductor said, well, this is a gospel play. Can you read? I told a lie. Yeah, I couldn't. And I was following the piano player, his left hand,
Okay.
because I have a good ear.
Right.
So about 3 weeks later, the conductor said, we found out you couldn't read. I said, how did you know? You're not playing what's on the paper, you're playing the piano player. But we love your feel, so they kept me.
Okay. Wow.
And I kept going from there.
what records were you influenced in your early
Oh,
years?
everything, especially James Jamerson, Motown, and his son is my friend.
Okay.
John Entwistle, The Who,
Yeah.
and John Entwistle was a friend of mine before he left. With Warwick, we were both with Warwick together.
Yep.
I mean, just so many different kinds of music. Led Zeppelin, they had that almost funk with rock,
Yep.
and that's how I became heavy metal funk.
Yeah.
Sounds like rock and roll to me.
How has the music business changed over the years, and has it become easier or more difficult to make music?
Well, like I was going to paraphrase and said, the music business became the business of music. Back when I started, New York City was a mecca for recording. I used to do 3-4 sessions a day, and we didn't have cell phones. We had beepers,
Okay.
and I would be playing a jingle. Zzz, next session, run to the studio, and we made a good living. And it was also different kinds of music. Now, because there's no really record business, guys like me got to get in a plane and get in a truck every day. Like this tour is 25 concerts,
Wow.
maybe 1 day off, 2 days at the most.
Yeah.
So we have to work harder.
So touring is basically your main source of income at the moment, or
Not just mine, everybody's.
everybody's?
Unless, say, I was scoring for your TV or scoring for movies, which I've done.
Yeah.
But unless you're doing that, you got to get out here and hit that road.
What do you do to keep fit on while on touring?
Vegetarian, but I'll eat some fish,
Yeah.
tofu. And sometimes I'll dance with you and have a Jaeger or two. But I mean, I think if you abuse yourself, it's not good. So I don't. You just stay fit.
Yeah. Do you have a warm-up routine before a concert?
Sometimes, I mean, sometimes it's frickle frackle, just to get my hands warm, and sometimes simple notes to get my groove locked.
Do you think in scales and stuff, or
No,
not at all?
Perfect question. Especially, you have a lot of young people watching.
Yeah.
The thing is, those things, when you think of your scales, minor, major, augmented, that's your computer. When you play, forget that schnick-schnack. It comes out naturally. When you walk, you don't have to think about left foot, right foot. It's natural. And so I learn all of this, and then I take it, turn it off. And then it comes out how it comes out. That's art.
I mean, when you're writing music, how do you tell your musicians what to play, basically?
When I'm recording,
Yeah.
a lot of my recording, like the guitars, I do on bass. I roll the bottom off and play the guitars on bass. And I'll play this. And I'll even play some drums with the pads. And they listen and then they know.
Ah, okay, right.
When I write something, I hear the whole band in my head.
Your last record,
Africans
in the Snow. What's the background of the title? Can you please
Africans
explain?
in the Snow is not about the weather. It's about coming from like Jamaica or Africa where it's very slow, tranquil, or in italiano tranquillo.
Sì, possiamo parlare anche italiano.
Va bene. Tutto bene.
Tutto bene?
We come from a culture that's more 3 o'clock, maybe 5 o'clock, but soon come. You go into a big city, now it's harder. So Africans in the Snow meant people from a warm environment coming to a cold business, money, 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 be here at 3 o'clock. That's the concept. Not Africans doing snow, I don't do that.
Okay. Well, thanks for explaining that. I was wondering, do you have plans for a new record?
Yes, and that's part of the business of music business. It's harder because without the record companies, they used to give us money to make records. Now they don't. So if you stay home 1 month, 2 months making a record, how do you pay the bills? So I have to find a way to put it in between.
I have a question for you on Africans in the Snow.
Yes.
You have so many musicians working and playing on your record, but
Yes.
live you're playing in a trio formation. Why is that? Does it give you greater freedom?
Well, yes. I mean, when you play with less musicians, there's more space. And I always say it's not the gear, it's the ear. If you look behind me, there's not many pedals there. Some people I play with have 27 pedals. And I'm going, what do you need all this schnick-schnack? And for me, it's this. So I don't need the this, the that, the conductor. I don't need all that. I just need the basic rhythm. And then the guitar hits, the drum hits, the bass hits. We can sound like an orchestra if everybody's playing right.
So it's a back to the basics approach.
Back to the basics. And sometime I'll add a keyboard player, but not more.
Is that really on your head? If I thought that you would care, yeah, yeah. Well, I'll wake up under my hair. Getting skibbity
You've been a Warwick endorser for how many?
27 years.
27 years, wow. And I saw this famous photograph of you guys. Where is it at the Golden Gate Bridge?
That was called Fuss on the Bus. We did part 1,
Yeah.
2, and 3. And part 1, I think, was New York. Part 2 was the Golden Gate Bridge. Part 3, we did in Germany. We just did it.
Wow. So
And
you all got together basically there, and
went on a bus, and they had a Pro Tools set up in the bus. We plugged in, started funking, and it made the whole thing. And I did the theme music.
what are you looking for in your instruments?
The sound, the tone. Like if you look at this bass, that's a TM bass. It's a TM Zulu bass.
Yep.
And I didn't sacrifice anything. For a normal player, the shoulder be ouch at the end because it's African babinga.
Yeah.
And a lot of players want something more light. That's heavy. And that amp will give you a haircut. But we used to all travel by tour buses with televisions and blah, blah, blah. Now we're in a truck.
Yeah.
But I'm happy to be in the business. And I've been playing for 40 years maybe.
Yeah.
To be out here to play, to have people, to see people like him in the clubs, I'm very lucky.
Yeah. We're very lucky to be able to talk to you. Thank you
No,
very
no,
much.
I'm lucky that you came.
No, we're very grateful. Any message you have for our listeners or readers?
Yes, young kids, listen to Uncle TM right now. Shut that cell phone off. SMS, computer. It's okay, but don't do that 24 hours a day. Use your left brain. Be creative. Pick up a bass, a guitar, read a book. This makes your horizons expand. Because if you only do this, you're missing the world. Would you rather go see the Mona Lisa in Paris or look at it on a cell phone? Shut that thing off. I'm coming to your house. I'm a vampire. Creativity. And I'm very proud tonight to be here at Porgy and Bess because I happen to love that movie. And I think to have a club like this is wonderful. And because it's too much business, we don't have so much. Now they have a big ball with the lights.
Yeah.
I think it's okay, but not all the time. You need a place like this. And you will meet some of the Porgy people in a minute.
Yeah, we know already some of them. They're great people. I mean,
This to me is like a church.
it's a great club, great atmosphere.
Yeah, we need more of this in the world. Keep watching, keep funking, keep playing, keep creative, and keep open. And thank you, Guitar Mania Station, for making this possible. Jah Rastafari.
Gotta get us back on the right track. He who makes the visions, we all know, has to go. Straddling Riding on an elephant, you're part of the problem or the solving. Try to take advantage, told a lie, so many had to die. Elephant remembers what you say on any given day. Be a chief of promise.